The Atlanta Story is a podcast highlighting Atlanta's most interesting creators, entrepreneurs, and builders. I'm JC Lucas with Atlanta Ventures and co-producer alongside John Birdsong. In today's episode, John sits down with Jesslyn Rollins, CEO of Biolyte. Biolyte is one of the fastest homegrown consumer brands in the city and state. What started out as a remedy for a family member's illness has turned into a beverage consumed and purchased from QuickTrips to Krogers by thousands of people. Biolyte is an IV in a bottle that makes super hydration accessible and affordable. Consumers range from athletes to people recovering from illness and even hangovers. In today's episode, Jesslyn shares how they got started, hurdles they'd faced to scale, and where the company is headed next. We hope you enjoy the show and subscribe to The Atlanta Story.
Jesslyn Rollins, thank you so much for joining the Atlanta Story podcast.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
2,300 reviews I was reviewing this morning on Biolyte and...
Where were you reviewing that?
Amazon.
Ah.
And the verdict is very clear. You can't fake 2,300 reviews.
Yep.
Y'all have built something that people love, adore.
Did you see what the score was?
Yeah, it was high fours.
4.8.
4.8.
To be exact.
So tell us how Biolyte started.
Cool.
And what it is. I think it was probably used over the past couple days for folks recovering from the Bulldog National Championship. I see you've got a Bulldog pin on your lapel, so go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
But give the listeners a quick, what is Biolyte?
Okay, so Biolyte is the first liquid supplement with the same amount of electrolytes as an IV bag.
Okay.
What that means is that Biolyte helps relieve minor headaches, fatigue, and nausea that are associated with severe dehydration. So when you are immune compromised, if you are going through some serious illness like cancer or POTS or...
Yes, a lot of POTS reviews.
Yes, a ton of POTS reviews. And or like a flu bug or something, Biolyte is exactly what you need in your pantry to feel better. If you have, if you're one of those people that... exercises extremely frequently and extremely hard, sweating, sometimes you can get a little bit of nausea from just overworking, and Biolyte is a huge, huge asset for those people as well.
When I went to the reviews, I was expecting more of a energy drink review, but it's really a lot of people who are recovering from a flu or sickness.
Totally.
And so when I first heard about Biolyte, it was probably 2.5 years ago. Our mutual friend Bennett Gottlieb had a case of Biolyte, and he said, "Birdsong, just take this next time you are dehydrated, aka hungover. Just drink this, and you'll be good." And I've been a Biolyte fan since. So thank you, Bennett, putting me on to Biolyte early.
When did you use it?
This was probably two years ago.
Okay.
So
an early adapter.
Yes. And it's so funny because looking on your LinkedIn, you're 5 years into it, and then, but it takes even 3 years to have an early, adopter.
Right.
How did Biolyte's origin story come about?
Okay. So Biolyte is actually my family's company. Okay. So a few years ago, my mom had breast cancer, and she was going through her chemo treatments and was very sick and very dehydrated to the point where she literally couldn't keep up with treatments without getting an IV bag beforehand. Now, my dad is an Atlanta anesthesiologist.
Okay.
He has years of experience tailoring his patients' IV bags with nutritional supplementation to help them feel better. Whether they were nauseous or low on energy, he knew what to add into their IV bags to help them.
Okay.
So my sister, when all of us were struggling with keeping mom hydrated, I mean, we were trying sports drinks, children's rehydration products, powders, and nothing was working. My sister, my oldest sister, Sarah, approached my dad and said, Dad, do you know of a product that's like going to bring the IV bag home to mom? Because that's the only thing that's working. And so my dad researched, couldn't find anything. And Sarah and my dad set out on this journey to create a product that would bring the IV bag home to people when and where they needed it.
Wow. That was 6 years ago?
That was back in No. This was early. This was like 2012, somewhere around there, that this idea started to formulate. And then, but here's the thing, taking an IV bag and making it even palatable, something that you can drink, was very, very challenging. And so they worked with a group of scientists and chemists to get the formulation and the taste just right to not only work incredibly, but also taste good. So they set out on this journey, and then
and this is 2012. So we're still praying for national championships from the Bulldogs.
Absolutely, and many decades before that.
Yes.
So Biolyte didn't really come into being. Like, it wasn't fully in a bottle
packaged.
Totally.
Yep.
Until 2016. And that's when 4 pallets of Biolyte showed up to my parents' house in Atlanta. Tractor trailer going down the driveway. And here we are.
So 4 years of just experimenting.
Right.
Creating that secret sauce.
The secret sauce.
Is this, yes, I like that. So there's a lot of people that have ideas for new drinks. I won't say energy drinks. What made this something that your dad and Sarah said we have to go either all in on, or the driving factor that there's so many times of, okay, well, this isn't different, or this isn't unique. But you just, as an entrepreneur, you're beating down those walls of doubt, right? How did they push through that?
So first and foremost is that you can come up, I mean, everybody's got ideas for products. You have a lot of products coming to market.
You didn't hear, I thought of doing that, when I was in college. How many times have you heard that from people?
Not very many.
Okay.
Not very many. Which what we more hear is like, why hasn't someone come up with this before? And that's a very good question. But going back to your original question of, you have a lot of people coming up with different drinks, different ideas, all the things. What sets Biolyte apart from that? And that goes back to your original statement of how many reviews we have on Amazon, of how many people love this product. You can have a product, you can have an idea, but we started off with the foundation of, we want to make something that works. You walk through the aisles of a grocery store and you have a ton of different sports drinks, recovery drinks, energy drinks, that kind of thing. And they don't do what they say they're going to do. And it's very, what we think is, sadly, but good for us, a huge unique ability of our product is that we actually do what we say. And that goes back to my dad. He knew what he was doing. He knew what the ingredients need to be to get somebody back to feeling good. And that's where Biolyte has grown predominantly organically.
How do you test that the market will like this?
That is a very good question.
Especially the early days.
Totally.
Before you get the momentum and the 2,300 reviews. So
I'm going to give you my very expert opinion from a theater and communications double major from Georgia that never took a business class in her life.
Okay.
I
like the perspective already.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So here's how I did it. So 4 pallets of Biolyte showed up to my parents' house, and my dad sat me down. And by the way, this was a total secret. So I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, what's happening? And he told me that he wanted me to be in charge of sales. And he was like, listen, you're good at talking to people. And I would love for you to head up the sales team. And, back in the day, I was, like, thanks, Dad, for the compliment. And he actually came back and was like, a few years ago, was like, Jesslyn, I just didn't want to pay anybody. So I got put in this position, and I was like, Dad, listen, I don't know what this product is. I don't know what it does. I've got to try it myself. And he was like, super, totally fine, totally get it. And how he recommended trying the product, and this is extremely off the cuff, but it's true. He was like, I would put your body into a state of severe dehydration. And how I would recommend doing that is, drinking one too many alcoholic beverages. So at the time, I was a recruiter, and I was working, full time, waking up at 8 a.m., trying to go into the office, all those things. I went out on a Thursday with my friends, drank too much, woke up, headache, nausea, fatigue, the whole 9 yards. And here's the thing, like, you can make fun of that all day long, but the way that your body metabolizes alcohol, it's going to put you into a state of severe dehydration. So that's what I did. And Dad told me, put a 30-minute timer on your phone after you drink 1 full bottle and let me know how you feel. So I woke up, put Biolyte over ice because I thought it was really salty.
Was it this package?
So no, it was the old packaging. It was we started out with very, very medical. We had a very medical label. You wouldn't even recognize it today. So drank that down at like 18 minutes on the timer. I started hyperventilating because I was like, my dad's drink sucks. I don't feel any different. How am I going to tell him that this isn't going to work? And then I'm not even joking you, right down to the minute, like 28 minutes was when I started to normalize, started to feel better. And that's when I knew that we might have something. But here's the thing. I knew that, of course, I wanted my dad's product to work.
Right.
I knew that there had to be some internal bias coming from me, family bias. So the next thing that I did was I bought a backpack cooler from High Country in West Paces, and I loaded this sucker down with cold Biolyte because I knew that it had to be cold because it was saltier than any other drink that I had tried. And so I went into my high school, love it, and I was in theater, so I walked into the athletic training office, and Sean DeFalvaro, the head athletic trainer, had like zero clue who I was.
Sure.
And I was like, Sean, I'm an alumni.
Yeah. Don't you remember that play?
Don't you remember Oklahoma? It was sick. And so I told him about Biolyte, and I was like, listen, it has as many electrolytes as an IV bag. It's going to help with muscle cramps. It's going to help with fatigue. Trying to like I think that it's going to help with this. Like I just tried it the other day.
Yeah.
And
selling, but not really selling.
Yeah, totally. And and I was like, listen, I'd love for you to try this. I would love for you to try this for your football team and see where this goes. And he was like, okay, weirdo, bye. And so I left, and I got a call on Saturday from Sean at like 9 a.m.
Okay.
And he was like, Jesslyn, where can I get more Biolyte? And I was like, you liked it? And he was like, I loved it. Typically, I have 10 guys on our football team that are habitual crampers, and they're like our best players. We gave them 1 bottle of Biolyte before the game, 1 at halftime, and 9 of them did not cramp at all.
Wow.
Give me more.
Yep.
So that set me out on this journey. I was like, that's it. So so for the first like year and a half, I loaded up my car with Biolyte.
So 17, 18? Or is it 16, 17?
This is 17.
Okay.
Loaded up my car with Biolyte, drove all over the state of Georgia. And if you had made the GHSA playoff bracket, like your football team had made that bracket for your division, like top 16, I physically visited your school to drop off samples and just said, this is the product. This is what it's good for. Try it this way. And it was just, account after account after account.
The pitch is not, it's almost recovery, right? Versus energy.
100%. Biolyte is not an energy drink. Biolyte is not water. Biolyte is a recovery supplement. It is here to help relieve minor headaches, fatigue, and nausea associated with severe dehydration. And that falls into 3 categories for us. 1, which I touched on earlier, immune support. 2, intense athletics. And 3, upset stomach. That can come from overindulgence. That can come from,
diarrhea.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah. Pepto, like upset stomach. Totally. Yes.
And how does that, the current product, distributed between those markets? Right? Is it 60%?
I'm still in my car. I'm just driving it around everywhere.
At that point.
At that point, I'm playing. No, we have a huge network thanks to the incredible sales team that we have. We have this huge network of beverage distributors, pharmacy distributors that are all over the Southeast. We're in 15,000 locations.
Yeah, so before we get to the 15,000 locations, walk us through the evolution from back of your car.
I jumped.
Back of your car.
Right.
We skipped some of probably the trunk slamming
the
years.
Middle. Yes, totally.
Was there a point? Was ever? So it's you've got a couple crates, and now you're taking these crates all over the state of Georgia.
Okay.
And assuming that you high schools were based off of the early Love It antidote. It's like, okay, well, they liked it, so I'll just take it to other high schools.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
Buford High School was when that was like back that at that point in time, that was the big white whale.
Got it.
Was Buford High School because they win pretty much every year.
And you just guessed that high school football teams.
Yeah.
That was it. That was just a guess.
Yes. And what I was doing, so back in the day, I didn't know that. It was just kind of like an intuition of like, hey, listen, I've got to go out there and sample this thing because I need people to tell me that this works. But what I was doing was seeding the market and doing those preliminary.
Did you go to any other markets? Like besides
Georgia, Alabama were really the main 2 that I drove around.
Or besides football?
Oh, so there's a huge piece of this story that we're missing, and I drove around and went to different high schools for a period of time, but then everybody was like, we started getting traction in that space, but I went and was having drinks and dinner with my family, and my brother-in-law was talking to me about Biolyte, and my brother-in-law's in wine sales. And he was like, Jesslyn, I really appreciate your hustle and, what you're doing and driving around and stuff. He was like, that's not how beverage works. Like, love it, but like,
there we go.
That's not how beverage works. And I was like, well, how does beverage work? And he was like, well, you have to get a beverage distributor. And I was like, okay, how do you get one?
But this is after you've already known that this product works and people like it and there's repeat customers.
Yes, correct. But that it's not like you're trying to phrase it as like 1 + 1 plus, and like kind of, we took this step, then we took this step, and then it went to the,
and no. This,
no. It was all very fluid.
Got it.
Okay, we had, like, I don't even know if we had, we had few, maybe 3 repeat buyers at that point, but like all the rest were still like sampling the product and trying it. Like you need to get the word out alongside experimenting with who your customer is.
Yep.
Totally. And I was very comfortable with that approach.
Yep.
So Adam Szabo,
the brother-in-law,
was like, that's not how beverage works. This is how beverage works. I've got a couple of connections through my career journey. Let me hook you up. So he hooked us up with a company called Eagle Rock. And Eagle Rock, so we went in, this was the first meeting, like, hello, business meeting that I had ever had in, like, as with Biolyte. And
like big charts and graphs and
boardroom. And he and the guy that we were, showing in Biolyte and all the things, and I was like, oh yeah, we've got all these high schools and blah blah. He was like, but you don't have any retail accounts? And we were like, no, but we're gonna get some. And he was like, listen, I think the product's great. I think where it came from is awesome. We're just not ready to take this product on without proof of concept. And so I was like, totally gotcha. And Adam and my sister Sarah were very concerned. They were like, it's a no. And I was like, it wasn't a no. It was a maybe.
Yeah.
So then Adam connected us with what we consider as Biolyte's big break. Adam connected us with Savannah Distributing. That is a huge, massive Georgia distributor. And this is so timely because of the national championship. So hold. So what happened was that I went in and sold Biolyte to Savannah Distributing with Adam. And they were like, very hesitant at first, but then at the end of it, like they were totally sold on it. And they were like, hey, we're going to bring in 4 pallets and it's going to be sick. And we were like, 4 pallets? Oh my God, like that is insane. Like it was nuts. But week over week, then it went to 3 pallets. Then it went to 2 pallets. Then it was, hey, listen, we have this opening with Savannah Distributing. Excuse me, not Savannah. We are Savannah Distributing, and we have an opening with Kroger. If you can get it into Kroger, then we will bring it in. So it went from 4 pallets to, hey, we're not going to have any order unless we land Kroger.
Wow.
It was massive, and it was like we've set you up a meeting with Kroger in like next week or something. It was so quick. So I was like,
and this is what, 2018?
This was 2017.
2017.
That's what I'm saying. This was all so quick.
Very quick.
So there was a long shot and extremely.
How'd the Kroger meeting go?
Oh, so the Kroger meeting went extremely well because we got into Kroger. I did not think that we were going to be able to, but I actually brought my pitch to the Atlanta Tech Village and had them look it over, poke holes in it. And so I was ready. I had
like pitch practice. JC's pitch practice.
Love that.
Kevin Sandlin.
Dude, legitimately, we landed Kroger. I was
amazing.
all ready. I did not think we were going to. Randy Waters, the head of the all natural division, he wears bow ties and is very he dresses very well, but like he's stone cold in the face. You can't read him. So I thought I totally lost it. But by the end of it, it was like, I absolutely want to bring this in. I love your passion. I love your enthusiasm. There's very small proof of concept to let's just roll with it.
And so what'd that look like?
So what that looked like was that Savannah Distributing brought in 2 pallets of Biolyte. And they put Biolyte into the coolers in Krogers in the Atlanta division. So that's Atlanta and the Chattanooga market and some little pieces in the Carolinas. And because it was cold, because Biolyte's best cold, and it was on the end cap because it was in a cooler. It just started, like, sales just started to climb.
Wow.
It was wild. So grateful to everything. And can I say one thing about Savannah Distributing? Because I mentioned this because we're in the national championship win. So before I met with Savannah, because I knew that I had to get retail accounts to even make this thing probable, I figured out that the CEO of Savannah Distributing, Henry Monsees, was a bulldog, and his father before him was a bulldog, and they were all UGA SAEs. Before I got to the meeting with Savannah Distributing, I had sold 900 bottles of Biolyte to the UGA SAEs. Plus, I had opened up 25 accounts all over Athens. So, go dogs.
Go dogs, and it was good social proof.
Exactly. I needed more proof.
And we're going to take a quick break here and share that this podcast is brought to you by Atlanta Ventures. If you are looking to start the next $300 million business out of Atlanta, check out the studio at atlantaventures.com. You land the Kroger account. How do you make more? Like, how does we haven't even gotten into the ingredients, but just walk us through the mechanics of, you land Kroger, you call the family and you're like, Kroger's in, we need 5-10 more thousand.
You know that image of Anchorman when they're all like jumping up in the air?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was me and my family.
That's great. Is there a flip that you just switch that says, okay, well, we now want 20,000 Biolytes, or how does the sausage get made in terms of mechanics? We'll get into the ingredients.
So how it works is that Biolyte's not something you can make in your kitchen. So it wasn't like, hey, Dad, get stirring. Like, no, it's not like that.
Yep.
We work with very professional co-packers that are all over the United States that create the product in cleaner than Clorox FDA approved facilities. So there was never a question of, can they do more for us? It was a question of, do we have the orders to meet their minimum quantity limits? My dad was very clear in, we will do whatever it takes to get you the product. We will do, getting product should never be a problem.
We'll find the packaging.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But at this stage, it was pushing the product, selling the product, getting the word out there. So no, we wouldn't have taken no for an answer, but it helped that we had such incredible co-packing partners.
Right. Let's transition into what is in the bottle. So we've got three different, we got tropical, berry, and citrus.
Yes.
What's in it?
Okay, so like I've mentioned before, Biolyte has as many electrolytes as an IV bag. And what that means is that Biolyte has a whole lot of sodium, chloride, and potassium in each bottle. And the electrolytes, like, you would have to drink close to 7 sports drinks to equal the amount of electrolytes in Biolyte. Mm-hmm. That is the key differentiator. But the reason why the reason why Biolyte doesn't just tackle dehydration with electrolytes and water and the reason why Biolyte helps relieve minor headaches, fatigue, and nausea is because of the other ingredients. There are ingredients in Biolyte like ginger root, and the sugar actually helps as well with nausea. You've got 3 ingredients that help clean out your liver and help it function better.
And the calories, did I read it was 45 calories?
It's 45 calories.
That's pretty dang good.
Dad was very clear that he did not want it.
180.
Yeah. Yes, he was very clear that he did not want it above 50. Because at that point, it's just not necessary.
Right.
But we do get questions like, hey, will you ever have a sugar-free Biolyte? Absolutely not, because the dextrose in it is there for a reason. Right. So you've got the nausea remedies, You've got the ingredients that clean out your liver, and then also ingredients that help boost your energy, like vitamins and minerals. You've got a ton of B vitamins, and L-carnitine that's found in red meat. It's a great thing.
How much do y'all lean on the medical side in terms of, is Biolyte, are they in doctor's offices, right? Where it's like, hey,
right.
This isn't anything that the FDA is going to say,
yeah,
you take this and you'll get better, but go ahead.
Have you ever bought anything at a doctor's office?
No.
Exactly. No. When you go to a doctor's office, they give you a prescription and they send you to a pharmacy.
Yep.
And then you go and buy whatever you need at a pharmacy or a grocery store or a convenience store. That's where Biolyte is sold. But getting the word out to those professionals, those nutritionists, doctors, nurses, that's more of a marketing play.
So let's talk about go-to-market in terms of the marketing play. You've got your distributors, and right now that's expanding. So
yeah.
Where are we on the distributor front?
So we work with about 25 beverage distributors and close to 10 pharmacy distributors.
Okay.
And they sell Biolyte to independent pharmacies, to like grocery stores like Kroger, Ingles, Publix.
And this is kind of like the pre-internet way to do it, right?
Well, okay, so it's kind of pre-internet. Like, have you not stepped foot in a grocery store in the past year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like the way you just phrased that is
I do want to talk about the whole Amazon phenomenon. So
totally. So here's the deal. It's not to us. It's not grocery store or convenience store versus e-commerce.
Sure.
It is. It's a very 360 degree approach for us.
Got it.
Because what we're trying to do is just be convenient for people to buy when and where they need us.
And meet them where they are.
Yes, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
So from the go-to-market perspective, you've got, taking this 360 approach, you've got direct-to-consumer via Amazon, your website. You've got the traditional routes. Which one's getting the most pull these days, right? Are people going straight to Amazon, buying that? I mean, we know they are, 2,300 at 4.8, but you can also go to Kroger. You can also go to, so how do you pull which levers to, how do you know which levers to pull and energy to push where you get the maximum ROI at this stage in the game?
So currently, convenience store is the number one channel for us.
Okay.
On average, they're doing about 10, 12 packs regularly, and that's a month. And then for grocery stores, it's more around 8, somewhere around there. And the number one convenience store that we've got is QT. And the number one...
Love QT.
But here's it's so... Love QT. And then the number one grocery store that we've got right now is Publix. Okay. But here's the thing. I say that, but Kroger and Racetrack and Ingles, they're all very close, very neck and neck. And it's too early to say that. But as in going to what lever to pull, we are not... Our approach has not been, hey, we're going to saturate the convenience market. Hey, we're going to saturate the grocery store. It's more been hey, we are going to try to get Biolyte into as many places as humanly possible. And that includes places just to put it into perspective, a Lucy's Market here in Atlanta, or a Savvy Provisions.
I see them at golf clubs.
Yeah, at golf clubs. Be there where people... need us. And so it really hasn't been hey, we're not going to focus on that channel, or that channel doesn't matter to us. It's more how do we get into the most places so that we get the most eyeballs?
Sure. Having known your style and vision, it's very clear Biolyte is going to be something that's big. What are the grand
Gotta be
plans?
huge.
What are the grand plans? Is there going to be a Biolyte stadium one day? What's your vision, the family's vision?
Yeah. So my vision is that I want Biolyte to, and this is all of our visions, is for Biolyte to have the best reputation as the best recovery supplement. Listen, you've got this and somebody hands you a this, you're like, no, dude, I need Biolyte. If you've got the flu and you are, really down and out and somebody brings you some, other sports drink or other, you're like, this is crap. I need Biolyte. So building up that brand reputation as the number one recovery supplement for people is what the vision is, because that's what it is.
Sure.
It's fulfilling its potential.
It's clear there's a huge need in the market for this. Are there competitors that are seeing what y'all are doing? And, is there a Pepsi to y'all's Coke?
So there are a lot of really good ideas that we have had that other brands have kind of folded into what they're doing, whether that be in marketing strategy or labeling or how they speak about the product. And that's a huge challenge, is to try and differentiate Biolyte from other products on the market and say, like I said, hey, no, you need Biolyte. No, this isn't good enough. You need this. Because when it comes to electrolyte powders, you would, on average, have to have 2 of those powder sticks to equal a bottle of Biolyte. If you are drinking a sports drink, on average, you'd have to drink about 7 of them. So that more falls on our shoulders to be able to sharpen that message, to be able to speak to the customer in a way that hits home with them. Like we want to be as recognizable as like a Tylenol.
Yep.
Hey, you don't think about Tylenol at all, but it's absolutely in your home for when and where you need it. We want Biolyte to be that way too. Hey, listen, we've got to have this in our pantry.
Can you share some just high level numbers in terms of employees or revenue or?
My favorite part. Yes. So I love culture. I love my people. I'm obsessed with my people. Talk about like, what did you do, Jesslyn, personally to get no. Once I finally started to piece the business together and add these incredibly talented people to the team, that's how we've grown. So every single year, let me get this right. So every single year we have either doubled or more than doubled in revenue.
Wow.
So our first year we did $153,000 in sales. The next year we did, that's 2017. The next year we did 1.3 million. The next year we did 3. The next year we did 8. So last year we did a little over 8. And this year we were close to 17.
Wow.
So we are very proud.
All bootstrapped. You didn't raise any outside money?
No. And the company's funding itself.
Yep.
So extremely proud of that. And this year our goal is 25. And the sales team right now is in their quarterly going over how they're going to tackle the mountain ahead, which I'm super pumped about.
And how many employees for that type of scale?
So we are close to 20.
Okay.
We're knocking on 20's door right now, and it's my job that by the end of the year we're knocking on 30, 35.
Who are you hiring for? What roles?
So the roles that I'm currently hiring for, the number one role that we need is a marketing director.
Okay.
We need somebody that is going to be able to see the macro vision of where I want to take this and get a strategy in line and then execute that strategy throughout multiple different campaigns. The next highest person on the list is I need a very high level operations person, someone to help me. Like, I can do the people and the culture all day long, but in regards to making things run on a operational basis,
Train's got to be on time.
But that type of person has got to respect the talents and the things that I bring to the table from a creative and culture perspective. Sure. You can't just have somebody that's, logic is only the way that I think and the only thing that I respond well to, because I'm extremely emotional. And then another position that we're definitely looking for, social media manager, an events coordinator is a big one. And those are the top ones right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
And 5-year, 10-year goal, grow it, build it, sell it, or just what's the
So everybody wants me to give a very definite answer. So I'm going to disappoint some of you, because my answer has always been the doors are always going to be open. We kind of like how, this journey has led us to more than we ever expected. I don't want to say this is the direction, this is the only thing that this company is going to achieve, and then not see the other opportunities that could present itself.
Sure.
So the door's open. All we're trying to do is get Biolyte into more locations to help more people feel better, if they're experiencing symptoms of severe dehydration. And if that is having a partner, if that is, having the company just fund itself and keep growing the way that we are, we're totally open to that. So I'm open to a lot of things that life has down the road for Biolyte.
Jesslyn, we always wrap up the interview with why Atlanta and what has Atlanta done for you. I didn't know that you went to high school in Atlanta, so.
I did, yes. So I am
Love It Lion.
Yes, I'm a Love It Lion. Yes, go Lions. And so my dad grew up here. His dad grew up here. We're very, very proud to be an Atlanta family. And I actually went to high school with all of my cousins. So that was a lot of fun. There were almost 20 of us.
Wow.
It was a lot. It was a lot of fun. And so why Atlanta? Atlanta is home. And I was talking to a girlfriend about this recently that went to Love It with me, and she was like, I could never move back to Atlanta. I feel like it would be like high school all over again. And you're just like, I love you, but that is such a closed-minded thought process, because Atlanta is so different than where it was when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Not only because of, just the landscape and, things have changed about Atlanta, but also as you mature, you explore avenues of Atlanta that you've never explored before. Like having this conversation with you. I mean, that is such an exciting thing to be able to mature in a city that has been home from the time I was born. And why Atlanta? I mean, the people have been so incredibly just loving of Biolyte, early adopters, Gailey and Asa Candler, Thad Ellis, Mary Liz Harms, the Atlanta Tech Village, there are key people that have just attached to this brand, and that have, they tell one person who then tells another person who then tells another person. And Atlanta's been an incredible place to grow this brand because of the support that not only key individuals, but key places and companies and entities have supported.
Well, it's got good bones of building a big B2C beverage company as well. Jesslyn, thank you so much for being on the Atlanta Story podcast. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much for having me.
This podcast is brought to you by Atlanta Ventures. It was co-produced by JC Lucas and John Birdsong. If you are looking to start the next $300 million business in Atlanta, check out the studio at atlantaventures.com and the companies we work with who've done it before. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, please share it at your next coffee meeting or dinner greeting, rate it, and write a benevolent, eloquent review.